All right. I need a glass. Welcome back to Beer Time with BigBird. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Salt of the Street studio. If you missed us last week for our usually scheduled Friday evening appointment for beers and good times, then that's because I wasn't around. And I tried really hard. Donovan really tried to help me out. It was so last minute we couldn't figure it out. Tried to do like an impromptu YouTube live stream from my phone. Ended up not being able to get that working. But if you head over to the Salt of the Streets Instagram, you can find a video that me, my wife, and my sister-in-law shot at like 1 in the morning on Thursday. It was probably... No, it wasn't Thursday. One of the days that week. We did an impromptu beer show over in New Jersey. Had a couple local-ish beers. One of them was quite interesting. It's like a s'mores porter. And the other one was like a weird, it was a coffee porter, which was actually pretty good. And there was like a s'mores stout that we did. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure to get on over to the Salt of the Streets Instagram page, and you can watch that whole video in all of its glory. But today, I'm back in town. I'm back at the studio. Feels good. And I've got a fun little beer to take care of today. We're going to enjoy this fine Western Red Brewing Tailhold Pale Ale, which happens to be, and I feel like if you watch the Salt of the Streets podcast, Donovan has remarked on this before, it's probably his favorite pale ale, and I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably mine too. And so what we're going to do first off is we're just going to go ahead and dive into it. Cha-cha. Oh, it smells so like crisp and clean right off the bat, right out of the can. Real good. We're going to do a pour. Let's not pour it on the laptop, but we'll show everybody. Look at that. Okay, don't be afraid. We don't need a trickle. Just a beautiful, beautiful gold pale ale. Nice and hoppy, but not too hoppy. It's I don't know. If you want a nice solid IPA, and you don't have one, you can find this pale ale, and it'll do you right. So let's just dive into this because I'm not going to spend too much time today talking about this. I'm going to talk to you guys about a magical place called the the Portsmouth Brewery. We're going to talk about that in a second, but first let's try some actual local beer. Oh yeah, it's good. It's good. It's got what a body craves. It's got what plants crave. Electrolytes. Not really. You don't need to worry. That's from a movie. I have my earbud in. Why do I have my earbud in? That's weird. It's probably because I'm mostly a cyborg now and I wear my earbud like 12 hours a day. So I don't notice it's there. But as of this beer, it's got all like that hop aroma that you'd want from like an IPA, but you don't get the ultra bitterness in the back. You still get a nice balance on the malt, and it's malt forward ish. It's like if the malt and the hops were holding hands as they walked forward. Let's go with that. It's just like a perfectly refreshing combination. I have nothing but good things to say about this beer and about Western Red Brewery as well. Downtown Paulsbo, Washington. They're a phenomenal little microbrewery. They make amazing beers, and there are more and more and more getting canned and sent out into the world every single day. So very excited about that. If you have a really clutch beer guy that can order things from across the nation, you could probably get you some. So watch out for that. Tailhold. I'm sure Tailhold has something to do with logging because everything about this brewery has something to do with logging. It's pretty cool. You walk in and it's all just beautiful, like knotty pine. I don't know that much about wood, to be perfectly honest, but it's really nice. It's gorgeous. It's fantastic. They have all this cool, like antique logging type stuff all over for the decor. It could be pretty dangerous if people start getting wild at night. But I don't think that's happened yet, and hopefully it won't happen because that would be just a crying shame. But what we are going to talk about today is, like I said before, the Portsmouth Brewery, which is located in downtown Portsmouth. So before I get into too much, let's go ahead and show you where that's at. Brace for re-entry. Oh, welcome to 56 Market Street, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, downtown, right on the waterfront, incredibly historic, beautiful views. When that sun's shining, it is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Old brick buildings, you can kind of see it here thanks to Google Earth. There's John Paul Jones's house, like we'll talk about here in a minute. And we've made it to the Portsmouth Brewing page. Let's go ahead and see, oh hey, what's on tap? Here we go. We had a nice Bear Hug Brown Ale, which is actually a maple syrup brown ale, which I did not get the chance to try. Black Cat Stout was a nice traditional American stout there. I believe somebody had that when we were there. Dirty Blonde Ale, you know somebody had that. The Dunkelweizen, that was my first beer of the night there. A nice dark German wheat beer. The Mount Priest looks like a Munich Dunkel Lager, not in the wheat, so that's good. Just a nice Dunkel Lager there. I did not get into that one. The Murphy's Law Red Ale, which was on Nitro, I definitely would have had it, but they had just tapped out at the time. There's, oh, this one. I definitely had this one. This one was great. The Rogue Generator, sure, we'll go with that. German rye Bock beer, and holy crap, that was fantastic. Got dark Munich malt, the Cara Munich, the rye malt, the flaked rye, lots of rye going on there. A nice special roast, Victory, melanoidin, and aromatic. The Impy Stout. Oh, I definitely know somebody that got that one. That was a Imperial Stout that was barrel aged. Really good. Surrender to the Flow. That was, the New England style IPA, which I am yet to figure out what New England style IPAs are. And then we're back to the Bear Hug Brown. So there we go. That was the Portsmouth Brewery. So that's that. That is the Portsmouth Brewery. It was a total happenstance that we kind of stumbled upon this place. Pause button. Rewind. A little background. Why was I in New Hampshire? If you do not know why I was in New Hampshire, or New Jersey for that fact, or Massachusetts, or Maine, I was just hanging out on the eastern seaboard last week. I was over there for a wedding to none other than my lifelong friend at this point. We call him Papa Neal here. He was on a special of the Salt Streets podcast. You can go check that out sometime. It's on the YouTube. You can find it. But he was getting married, and so last summer, him and his fiance flew out all the way across the country, came out to stay with us for a few days, and invited me to the wedding, asked me to be his best man. I absolutely said yes, so of course, and this was the time. We had to go get this man married, so we flew back east, spent a little time with the family back there, saw a couple friends, and then went up to New Hampshire for the epic weekend that was the wedding. So that's why I was there. Now, how did I end up at this random brewery in downtown Portsmouth? So after the wedding reception was concluded, we had gone to a restaurant downtown Portsmouth, a great place, great food. We were waiting to catch shuttles back to the hotel. And we've all had a few bevies at this point, and so everybody there had begun to mingle. We've all started to talk to each other and get to know each other, and everybody's friendly. And my buddy Matt has his favorite drink in the world is something we call Russian ice water. Do the math on that. It's pretty simple. It's just vodka and ice, and that's it. But after a few of those, everybody was feeling real good. We're standing out on the street waiting for the shuttles, and one of the guys runs up in the back of the group. He's like, "Hey, guys, there's a brewery right here, and we should go in there while we're waiting. Screw this waiting outside business." So of course it's right there. We walk down, not even a half a block, and there it is, the Portsmouth Brewery. Walk inside, huge place, just a huge place. Beautiful wood everywhere. They had shuffleboard and all sorts of cool stuff, and they had a massively long bar with very little people at it. And mind you, this was like what day was that? Wednesday? No, it was Thursday night. And so it wasn't really popping. There's only a few people in there. And the first few of us have decided to go in and have a beer. And that's when I first ordered that. I think I ordered the Dunkelweizen first. And then can't remember what Carolina had right off the bat. And then the buddy that we were with, also a former Coastie, or actually he is an active duty Coast Guard member now. His name's Brandon, great guy. I think he started off with a nice stout, barrel aged, if I recall. Really, really nice stuff. A great selection. We just covered a few of them. And there was only a few of us there. And then within maybe 10 or 15 minutes, a couple more people had trickled down on over. And then next thing you know, half the wedding party was down there, all ordering beers. The bartender, we'll just call her at this point, was, I think, very happy to see us because the night was pretty dead. And we left that... just the proverbial tip jar pretty full after we left, so she couldn't have hated that too much. I don't think we were too unruly, but yeah, it was a great time. I got a sticker that's gonna go right up here somewhere. We're gonna put that one up there from Portsmouth Brewery, and other than that, I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass because I didn't get any other swag. I didn't think about it at the time, and we had, mind you, I had other more important things to think about than grabbing a bunch of swag from a random brewery that I just happened to go to when I was already half-cocked to go into it. But we did manage to get a sticker, so that's going to go up on the wall. I think it might go on the future beer fridge when we get the taps coming into the studio. That might be a thing. Or it might just hang out back there on the beer studio. But either way, it was a great time. A little kind of a weird thing about New Hampshire, which I do not hate, but at a certain point, I don't think you can serve alcohol without having hot food, which for the Portsmouth Brewery happened to just be some fantastic seafood. Apparently, they sell a shit ton of mussels. And if you don't like mussels, I'm not saying you're a bad person, but I'm going to question your judgment because mussels are really good if they're done correctly. You got to clean them. You got to do the whole thing. Otherwise, they taste just like, you can get sand in there and stuff. It's the same rules you got to do with any kind of like mollusk. But anyways, it was a great time. I wish I would have had the chance to bring back some beers, but obviously I got to fly. It gets difficult. But I should have at least grabbed a glass. That one didn't kick me till like just now, when I forgot the glass before the show, and then I went to go get a glass, and it'd be really convenient. I have a Portsmouth Brewing. It would have been nice, but oh well. So that was that. That's where I was. I definitely really, really want to go back. Spend some more time downtown Portsmouth. It was a really great time. We got into downtown Portsmouth again the following day, the day of the wedding. Me and the groom took a nice long walk in the morning, kind of cleared our heads, got some electrolytes in us, got hydrated. It was a big night, followed by a big day and another big night. But I got to go drive back downtown, and we picked up a bunch of cigars for everybody. And driving around that old town, man, it's so cool. If you guys watch the Salted Streets podcast at all, you know that Donovan and I are kind of like history buffs. And when we were driving in, I didn't do much research into Portsmouth before I went. We just kind of went, plug it into the GPS, and go. And when we're driving around, one of the guys in the shuttle looks over, oh, that's John Paul Jones's house. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, who? John Paul Jones? Yeah, the guy that, invented the Navy. His house is still there. It's like a museum now. Unfortunately, it was closed. We tried to get into it the next day, but it's there. You can see it. It's kind of wild. It's been there since, before the country was a country. And there's a ton of buildings in Portsmouth that are just like that. And a lot of them have their dates like on the doorways and stuff. It's pretty cool. A lot of late 1600s, and which was just weird to be around. It's just talking about living history. And then just like stumble into that amazing brewery. And it was a great weekend. I'm not going to spoil too much of that tonight because not this weekend, so not tomorrow, but the following weekend, we got one hell of a Salted Streets podcast episode getting worked up right now. We got a couple very special guests coming in. It's going to be a twofer. They're not going to be coming in studio, unfortunately, because they're all spread out throughout the country. So we're going to get them all in our Discord chat. It's going to be a great time. But I'm going to recount most of the epic tales that I need to recount that day. So I believe that's the 16th, if I recall correctly. Anyway, next Saturday, so watch out for that, and then you can hear all about my shenanigans in New Hampshire. But I thought it would be an appropriate thing to discuss the brewery and the beers that were, because they're not here today, while I enjoy this fantastic tailhold from my favorite local brewery. Probably one of my favorite local breweries. I'm going to be careful with that. There's still rainy days. We still got echoes. It's a whole... Can't say favorite in this town because them's fighting words. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little jaunt over to New England and not really experiencing, but listening to me talk about a couple of the beers that we had while we were there. Next time I go, hopefully I could be in a spot where I could do a live stream, maybe from the brewery. That would be killer. If not, we'll get some beers. We'll go back to a hotel room, or we'll go back to an Airbnb or whatever it is, wherever we're staying, and we'll do a show there. So in the meantime, let's drink this local beer. I got to come up with some kind of catchphrase to close this thing out all the time. Drink local. How about that? Sounds good. Who makes the best beer? Your local brewery does. Anyways, cheers, everybody. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought.